Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to The War Report. I'm your host, Alex Axel Toss Rodriguez, and this is episode 2 of 2 so far. Of course, if you don't know what this is, MLG and Sony Online Entertainment have recently partnered up to help bring esports to Planetside 2. Of course, this show is meant to get inside Planetside 2, truly explore the world, and of course invite some friends on, some co-hosts to join us in the fun. Of course, episode 1, if you missed it, it's available. YouTube.com/Major League Gaming. And of course, I had Jimmy Wisenhunt on the show. We basically spent the first part of the episode talking about Planetside 2, kind of introducing you to the game. So if you're just now hearing the word Planetside 2, it'd be a great idea to go check out that first segment from there. I think we did an okay job explaining, running through the basics of Planetside 2 for any newer players. Of course, we went on to actually jump into the game. We had a lot of fun following Jimmy around, watching him capture objectives and whatnot. So again, if you missed that, youtube.com/Major League Gaming. Of course, this is episode 2, and of course, I'm going to, introduce our guest for this episode. It is none other than Scott Sir Scoots Smith. What's going on, man? Great to have you on the show.
Great to be here. It's one of my new favorite games, so really excited that you guys asked me to come play with you.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Planetside 2, a lot of people, it's a relatively new game, so it feels like a lot of people kind of discovering it for the first time. But for those of our viewers who don't necessarily know who you are or your history, of course, it is quite illustrious, if I may say so myself. Can you go ahead and give us a nice little brief run-through of your history in
Sure.
esports and video games?
Sure. Well, I'm an old guy, so I started video gaming long time ago. Atari 2600, Mattel football handheld. I think your boss Sundance asked in a tweet last week, like, what was your first experience? And like, that was one of mine, like on the school bus with the little handheld, right? Progressed obviously into all the different consoles, PC. I guess primarily, I think my favorite game type's FPSs.
Right.
So like modern and esports wise, it would have been Counter-Strike that sucked me in. First little Team Fortress, and then Half-Life, and then off of Half-Life came the mod Counter-Strike, and that is what really sucked me in as a multiplayer, playing other humans all the time kind of gamer versus single-player games and storyline games. I still play a lot of those, but the Counter-Strike definitely sucked me in, and certainly on the esports side of my gaming is what really got me into the idea of guys bashing each other for money.
Right. So one of those stories where you kind of started out as one of those core gamers, and then you kind of evolved into this esports stuff. Yep.
And Counter-Strike led me to going to LANs and CPLs and meeting the guys that started GotFrag. So then I went to work at GotFrag, which was kind of an ESPN-y news type site for the Counter-Strike scene. At the time, I think probably the top English, if not one of the top English sites covering the scene. Again, much like ESPN, roster moves and stats and box scores and all those kind of things. Fast forward a little bit, couple years, we get bought by your guys' company, MLG. They buy GotFrag and a bunch of other properties. So for about 18 months, I actually worked for MLG, VP of broadcast for GotFrag TV. Did a lot of the streaming stuff. Did a lot of assists with even the MLGs in the beginning when you guys transitioned from doing stuff post-production to trying to do the same quality of work live. So I go way back with Ryan, all those guys. Anyway, so GotFrag, MLG, leave all that and start working for EG and Alice Garfield. Also keeping in the esport theme of things, working on the team side.
Can we throw a year? Years. Let's throw a year into this.
Oh, sure. So GotFrag would have been, Counter-Strike came out in 99, so that's when the bug really grabbed me in a sense of esports, 1999, but I'd already been watching some Quake and some other stuff, but not necessarily actively participating in any of the communities.
Right.
Then GotFrag, about 2004, MLG, all the way up to about 2008, 2009, I think is when we got bought, and then I left, sat out for a little while, joined EG, I want to say 2009, 2010, and just left them end of 2012.
Yeah, so for those viewers who don't necessarily know, EG is basically a massive professional gaming company in a sense. Probably most famous right now for their StarCraft 2 scene, I would imagine, but of course, their StarCraft 2 team, but of course they've been expanding into other games as well.
Yeah, a really large multi-genre pro gaming marketing team for sure. when I first joined, and of course I know them as a Canadian Counter-Strike team. That's kind of where Alex kind of, got it all rolling. And even before Alex, were at Canadian Quakers. But now obviously a much bigger organization. And again, now freelancing, not involved in anything in particular full-time in esports. As you know, had the pleasure of directing you on the StarCraft 2 Blue stream at MLG Dallas.
We also did some Planetside stuff there, if anyone remembers that.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough that my stream got the nod to do that Planetside exposition, which was great. It was because again, I like the game, so it was like fun on top of fun. Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, of course, and that brings us right to Planetside, which is where we're here right now. So again, awesome having you on the show. Now, specifically relating to Planetside 2, what kind of got you into the game? How did you kind of first hear about it and whatnot?
Oh, well, I played, and my clan back then, as we called them, which again, I had a Counter-Strike clan, got into the Planetside beta, like long time ago, right? And again, this is kind of the spiritual successor, if you will, but some things are different and a lot of things are the same. But we liked the fact that you could, again, it was Counter-Strike to us, but with some guys flying and guys driving, and you still want to take over a base and hold a base, and had that objective for us. We quickly realized that we couldn't do both, and it was very much in beta. And I think we all played a little bit when it came out of beta, and then we all just fell back into Counter-Strike. It didn't grab us long enough. But again, Planetside was around for years and years and years. Not as an esport game, but as a very high-level competitive, like outfit versus outfit. Much like this, it's a multiplayer, huge monster war simulation, if you will.
Right.
So kept an eye on it, but never really played much of it after the first expansion, especially. And then got into the beta of this one, and again, I like shooters, and I tend to be a support-based guy, and Counter-Strike not really feasible. I mean, you had different positions, but there's no engineers and no medics in Counter-Strike. But games like Team Fortress and any of those kind of games where I have an option to be an engineer or be a medic, some sort of support healing type class, I tend to pick it. And so, again, much like in Planetside, I gravitated to engineer. I play engineer almost exclusively. Maybe a little bit of heavy, and if I have to pull a max to help do some air damage or whatever. But I like engineer. I like driving my Sundies around, either healing or giving out ammo, because your Sunders can be equipped to do various things, right? And that's how I like to play.
Nice.
I tend to kind of lone wolf it or play it with a few squad mates or outfits. UGP has an outfit on Waterston. We're NC, not very active, like in the sense of how outfits are run or should be run in Planetside. We're horrible. Like, there's no organization. There's no, we're not organized. Say, let's get on at 7. Like, if you're on, we group up, we play.
Awesome.
And that's how I tend to play,
So back to your selection of NC, what kind of went into that selection? Can you explain a little bit about, I guess, maybe your personal grudge against the TR or the VS?
Yeah, and it is a grudge. I think that's one of the cool parts about this game. I think it's like StarCraft in that sense. Yeah, you got guys that'll play all 3, but you pick something and you play it, right? And then you hate everybody else. And that's half the fun, whether you really do or not. I picked NC. We all, as UGP, picked NC back in Planetside for whatever reason. They were the scrappy, they're like the rebel of the lore, right? They are... they're down with the real authority of the government, even though they're kind of their own government. And they're not into science or the Vanu, like crazy purple people eaters. So I just, when Planetside
You're going to make some people angry, man. Be careful. I don't want all the VS guys turning off the show.
It's all right. It takes all 3, right? It takes all 3.
I mean,
so Planetside 2, I stuck with it, and I just, because they are the successor of it in that sense too. I think they're all fairly even and equal. They all have their buffs and their nerfs needed in certain areas, but you forget the esports side of it. It's not like a lot of games where the sides are the same, but they're skinned differently, right? Like, they are very different. And you can, people pick factions because of the armor or because of the air. Like, I know I played with this guy, Joe, semi-pro Joe from Monster, and he freaking hates the Reaver, but he loves to fly, right? But I think he wants to leave NC because he wants to fly something different, right? Because he likes to fly.
Sure.
So you have people picking their factions based on how they like to play the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I picked NC. They're all good, but one's great, I guess would be the way to say it.
That's as good a reason as any. And I love your point about the way you play the game. I feel like if you're a Call of Duty guy, if you're a StarCraft guy, if you're a Super Mario guy or whatever, there's gonna be a play style that's gonna be right for you in Planetside 2. And I think half of your first time playing it, for those people who are interested in actually investing into the game, or investing as in time-wise, it's completely free to play. It's important to really find out all the things you're able to do. And of course, continuing on into this show, we're gonna jump into the game and we're gonna see exactly how that's gonna work with you. Of course, at home, if you want to play right now, planetside2.com. Again, you can download it for completely free, and I encourage you to do so because it's a lot of fun. But we're gonna go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna jump into some gameplay with Mr. Sir Scoots, and we're gonna find out exactly how he decides to play when he jumps into the Planetside 2 world.